When you think of iconic sports trophies, few can hold a candle to the legendary Stanley Cup. Every year, NHL players battle it out on the ice. They fight for the ultimate prize, but once the final buzzer sounds, the real fun begins. After the championship is won, the Stanley Cup isn't just a symbol of victory. It turns into a wild, hilarious, and bizarre prop for the players to celebrate with. In this video, we're diving into some of the craziest and most outlandish ways the Stanley Cup has been used off the ice. You won't believe what these players have done with hockey's most famous trophy. 1. Clark Gillies and the Dog Bowl. After the New York Islanders clinched the cup in 1980, winger Clark Gillies decided to give his dog the ultimate treat. In one of the more unconventional celebrations, Clark used the Stanley Cup as a dog bowl to feed his furry friend. The dog didn't seem to mind, and Clark, grinning ear to ear, even said, "Why not? He's a good dog." Not sure how hygienic this is, but hey, it's a fun way to make sure your dog feels like a champion too. Maybe next year we'll see the cup getting a Pup Cup sponsorship deal? You never know. 2. The punt over the Rideau Canal. Jumping back to 1905, things were a bit wilder. The Ottawa Silver Seven, back when the Stanley Cup was a little less shiny, had what can only be described as a hold my beer moment. After their victory, the team decided to punt the cup right over the frozen Rideau Canal in Ottawa. The cup was recovered the next day, miraculously still in one piece, floating on the ice. Can you imagine the panic if they'd lost it in the river? What better way to test a trophy's durability than by sending it flying across a frozen canal? That's a real grit test for a trophy. 3. Luc Robitaille takes the cup to Hollywood. Fast forward to 2007, and Luc Robitaille took the cup to places you wouldn't expect to see it. Hollywood. Luc took the Stanley Cup on a tour of the stars. From posing with it at the iconic Hollywood sign to riding it through Universal Studios, the cup became a true A-list star. It even made an appearance in the Rose Bowl parade, making it one of the first and definitely the most famous hockey trophies to be paraded down the streets of Pasadena. Forget red carpets, the Stanley Cup had its own special treatment. 4. Geronimo, the pool party throw. In 1999, after the Dallas Stars won their first ever Stanley Cup, the players took the trophy to Craig Ludwig's pool for a celebration. But rather than just toasting with it, they did something much crazier. Guy Carbonneau tossed the Stanley Cup into the pool. Imagine the sight of the Stanley Cup just floating there, surrounded by pool noodles and floaties. If you're ever going to cool off after an intense series, that's one way to do it. 5. Chris Draper's baby moment. In 1998, after the Detroit Red Wings clinched the cup, Chris Draper decided to take a heartwarming photo with his infant daughter in the Stanley Cup. Everything seemed fine until the baby decided to use the cup as a toilet. Chris, probably in shock, had to quickly clean up after his little one's unintentional contribution. But the real kicker? Chris went on to drink out of the cup later that day. Bottoms up for a win, I guess. 6. Stanley Cup bonfire. The Toronto Maple Leafs go wild. In 1962, things took a bizarre turn when the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup. The story goes that they decided to celebrate by throwing the cup into a bonfire. They used the trophy as firewood. Just picture it. You're a Leafs fan, you're celebrating the team's win, and then you hear that the cup is literally being burned. There's no backup cup, no, "oh, we'll get another one." Just a trophy tossed into flames. The Leafs may have had their own fire burning that night, but that story has been smoldering in hockey lore ever since. 7. Baptism by cut. Sylvain Lefebvre's family celebration. Holy water. This was a baptism with a Stanley Cup twist. Other players followed suit over the years, including Thomas Holmstrom and Josh Archibald. If you want to feel like a champion from day one, what better way to do it than with a bit of Stanley Cup history? 8. Phil Kessel's hot dog stand. In 2017, Pittsburgh Penguins forward Phil Kessel took the Stanley Cup to a whole new level of casualness. Instead of carrying it around to more glamorous locations, Phil set up the cup on the golf course and used it as a hot dog stand. I mean, Who wouldn't want to eat a hot dog served out of the Stanley Cup? Phil was no stranger to the cup at that point, having won it twice before, so he figured why not use it as a snack holder. It was the most laid-back cup celebration you could imagine. 9. Shower time with Steve Yzerman. Back in 1997, Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings won the cup, and after the celebrations, Steve wasn't quite ready to let go of the trophy. So, he did what any true champion would do, and he took the cup with him into the shower. Now, we don't know if Steve was just trying to wash off the champagne or if he simply couldn't bear to be apart from the cup, but it's safe to say he may have been the first player to share a shower with a Stanley Cup. 10. Andrew Desjardins' cereal in the cup. And finally, we've got one of the most relatable celebrations of them all. After the Chicago Blackhawks won the cup in 2015, Andrew Desjardins decided to use it for breakfast. Forget the standard cereal bowl. Andrew poured himself a hearty serving of Lucky Charms right into the Stanley Cup. It's the ultimate childhood dream, right? The Stanley Cup, cereal, and a little sugar to kick off your day. And there you have it, a small glimpse into the wild, wacky world of Stanley Cup celebrations. The iconic trophy has been used for dog bowls, baptism fonts, pool parties, and even hot dog stands. So which one of these is the most outrageous in your opinion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more insane sports stories, and share this with your friends who love hockey. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice, and maybe just keep the Stanley Cup out of the bonfire.